Dave Ramsey calls IUL one of the worst products out there, and for a lot of people, he's right. But there's a good portion of people that he's completely ignoring, and those are the guys that I'm talking to today. Look, I am an IUL agent. I'm not here to tell you that IUL is for everyone, because it's not. The problem is he acts like it works for everyone, but it does not. So today I'm going to break down his 5 greatest criticisms. I'm going to talk about when he's right and also when he's wrong. A lot of it is factual based. He hasn't really dug deep into what it does. And that's what I'm going to share today about. The first thing he says is IUL is too expensive. Dave says IUL has so many fees. Surrender charges, admin fees, cost of insurance, premiums, and everything. He's saying that they keep adding up and they take from the insurance product. And I'm here to tell you that if it's not properly structured, this is true. But for a properly structured IUL product, the fees are a very small percentage of the actual product. Because if you're starting out and living paycheck to paycheck, IUL is not right for you at the time. But there's a group of people that's not the case, and I promise you this product can be revolutionary. Dave says IUL has too many fees. Surrender fees, cost of insurance, and also the cost of premium. He says that everybody should get the cheapest term insurance possible. I'm here to tell you that that's not the case for everyone. But if you're starting out living paycheck to paycheck, then his advice is right. But there are some people that this is not the case. Now let's talk about who IUL is actually meant for. With IUL, you get unlimited contribution caps, no income limits, and you get life insurance and investment in one package. It never expires, and it's tax-free growth in one package. When you're buying term insurance separately, you pay fees that you may never recover. And on top of that, you invest separately in the stock market that gets taxed at 30%. Now, after all is said and done, the benefit of doing that is not as drastic as Dave Ramsey makes it to be. The fees only become a problem in IUL if you underfund the policy. And yes, a lot of agents make that mistake in order to be able to get the business, but I'm here to tell you that when it's structured correctly, this can be a great product. And the fees become a smaller and smaller percentage of the cash value over time. Point 2, Dave says the returns are terrible. He says that in a given year, if the stock market makes 20%, that an IUL can only credit you 12% because there's a cap. Well, he forgot to mention that some IUL products actually have uncapped policies, which means that you can get the maximum that the stock market gives you. Something else that he completely ignores is actually the bottom. What about the fact that if a stock market crashes 20%, 25%, and in some cases 50%, like in the 1929 depression, IUL goes down 0%. Matter of fact, some of them actually credit you anywhere from 0.75 to 2%. Imagine if you were going through retirement and the very year you're trying to retire, the stock market crashes 50% and wipes out your 401k, your mutual fund, or any of those things. With IUL, you do not have that happen. Now let's show an example. In 2008, market dropped 38%. IUL dropped 0. In 2022, market dropped down 18%. IUL 0. The benefit of having an IUL is those down moments, it takes much longer for your money to bounce back and then become profitable, while in IUL you just start from almost flat to gaining. So you're always gaining. It's a very steady growth, which makes it pretty good. Point 3, Dave Ramsey says premiums keep rising, and that over the years as the cost of insurance goes up, the cash value in your account is now using to pay for cost of insurance, and that decreases the amount of your investment portfolio. Let me address this. So here's the reality. This only happens when policies are underfunded or not properly structured, and the fees are a big portion of the cash value. But when this is properly funded, the cash value actually grows exponentially to the point where the policy self-funds, and the money that you have is now using to pay for the policy. That is how IUL is meant to work. And I feel like he's targeting badly structured IUL policies for people that can barely afford the product, and not talking about the people that it actually works for. Now let's talk about Dave's term insurance. It expires exactly at 60 or 65 when you actually need the product. So all the money that you put into it is a complete waste. So why would I put money into something that I know for sure that I'm likely not going to use? Only 2% of term policies have ever paid out. So you're basically taking an insurance knowing fully well that you're not going to benefit from it. But when you do permanent or index universal life, you know for sure that regardless of whenever you move on, that money is never going to go to waste. And on top of that, you have cash value that you can use, as well as living benefits that you can utilize while you're alive. Dave says, point 4, just use a Roth IRA. Well, a Roth IRA has a maximum cap of $7,000 a year. And on top of that, some people with high income over 165K to be able to grow their money. So there's no universal language that says that IUL is bad for everyone. It could be bad for some people that have not taken advantage of those products, yes. But what about if you've maxed those out and potentially even maxed out your 401ks, which by the way, you still get taxed, but I'm not gonna get into that argument for now. But down the line, you have this product that grows tax-free, that actually you have a higher ceiling of money that you can put into it. Why would you not take that option? Matter of fact, that's what a lot of wealthy people have been using, and you can do the same too for yourself. Here's the reality. Most people I work with can't use a Roth IRA. They've maxed out their 401k. 401k is $23,500. That's the maximum you can contribute in a year. And Roth IRA is $7,000. What happens when you've maxed out that $30,000? What about people that are making $300,000, $400,000, and $500,000? So if you're a business owner, a doctor, a sales professional, making a lot of income, where exactly are you supposed to put your money to mitigate your taxes? Taxable brokerage that you pay in capital gains a year? No. Or IUL with unlimited tax contributions, growth, and tax-free access. And here's something David never mentions. You can access your money in your IUL whenever you want, and after 59 and a half is tax-free. Actually, not that point. And here's something Dave never mentions. You can access IUL at any age. Yes, he talks about you having to borrow your own money, but there's actually structures now where that money has minimal or no interest. You still borrow it, that's the term, but there's not much charge for you, so you still have access to that money to do several things. What other retirement products can you be able to do that? IUL is not exactly replacing your Roth IRA. It's just something in addition that you can have. You want to retire at 50 or 55? You can take out money from your IUL. Try doing that with a Roth IRA, and you will be hit with several upfront taxes. Point 5, it does both investing and insurance protection poorly. Now let's talk about this point. Dave mentions that when you try to combine insurance and investing, that it does not do both very well. It does both poorly. And honestly, if you don't have a lot of income and you really need to and you're still building and you really need to protect your income at a critical stage, get term. But here's the reality. For most people who want permanent protection and want tax advantage products, IUL is designed to do both. The death benefit is permanent and completely tax-free. If you die, your beneficiaries get your Roth IRA, but with an insurance, they get your tax value, your cash value that you built, as well as the face value tax-free. That's a much bigger sum. It's estate planning on steroids. And during your lifetime, you can pull tax-free income through policy loans. No required minimum distributions like IRAs. It doesn't affect Social Security taxation. And you still leave big deck benefit to your heirs. Term insurance, once again, expires 98% of the time. Worthless. You will pay 20 to 30 years and get absolutely nothing. It does Point 5, it does both jobs poorly. Dave Ramsey says that when you combine insurance with investment, that it does both jobs pretty badly. Now let me touch on this point. For most people who want permanent protection, who want to make sure that their hard-earned money that they put in, that they make sure that they get something for it, as well as tax benefits, IUL is programmed to do both and do both very well. The death benefit is permanent and tax-free. If you have a Roth IRA or a retirement product, yes, maybe your family gets 250 to 500K, whatever you saved. But if they have an IUL, they might also get that same amount plus the death benefit as well. And they get it tax-free. That's estate planning on steroids. And during your lifetime, you can pull tax-free income through policy loan at a very minimal fee, at zero or very minimal fee. Not required minimum distributions like IRAs. It doesn't affect Social Security taxation or Medicaid qualifications. And you still leave that big benefit, death benefit to your heirs. Term insurance expires worthless 98% of the time. You pay all that money for 20 to 30 years and you get nothing. With IUL, your family will get that payout. It's just a question of when. The people I work with aren't choosing IUL and nothing. They're choosing between IUL and other taxable investment. No one says that you cannot have an 401k, Roth IRA and still have an IUL. They're not competing against each other. It's a completely different product for the right kind of people. Bottom line, if you're starting out your career or struggling financially or feel like you don't have disposable income and need to maximize everything, then maybe IUL is not the right product for you. Unless you want to start building the habit of having permanent insurance that you can live for your family. However, if you're making 300, 400 and you're a business owner, where exactly are you looking to find free, non-taxable money that grows over time? That's the people that IUL is a great product for. If you're making a certain amount and you're just starting out your life and you haven't maxed out your 401k or Roth IRA, then IUL potentially could not be for you unless you want a permanent life insurance that you can pass on and you can utilize, and also something that grows tax-free. Then this might be the product for you. But what about those other people that are high income earners, doctors, lawyers, and also some business owners that have maxed out all their retirement products and looking for other ways to be able to compound their money over time? The problem that Ramsey makes is assume that a lot of people or everyone is broke and does not have enough money to be able to get products that can offer you tax-free growth. But high-income earners are not his audience. That's the truth. They have different problems, they have different priorities, they have different goals. Goals like estate planning, passing on legacy, and their hard-earned wealth to their kids in a structure where they authorize exactly what's meant to happen. And when it's done right with the right time horizon, IUL can be a fantastic product. Dave Ramsey built his audience by helping people get out of debt. That's the reality, and he's incredible at that. But telling high earners to avoid IUL is like telling someone who needs a truck to just buy a sedan because it's cheaper. That makes no sense. So here's what I want you to know. Are you someone who's maxed out your retirement accounts, or someone that needs a permanent insurance that will pass on to their family regardless of when? If you want to know whether IUL makes sense for your situation, drop a comment or send me a message and I will reach out to you. Hit subscribe if you want honest conversations about financial strategies that actually work. And remember, don't let anyone tell you what's right for your money without understanding the exact situation. That includes Dave Ramsey. Do your homework, ask questions, and make informed decisions. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for watching.